stop. Before you hear this sentence, you need to understand something. In the next 24 hours, someone watching this video right now will receive unexpected money. It might be $500, it might be $5,000, it could be more. And the only difference between that person and everyone else is 4 words they'll speak tonight, before sleep. 4 words that Neville Goddard called the shortcut to wealth consciousness. But here's the problem. Most people will hear these words, nod, and do nothing. They'll treat it like another affirmation, another technique, another thing that sounds nice. And they'll stay exactly where they are, checking their bank account every morning, hoping something changes, wondering why everyone else seems to attract money except them. Here's what nobody tells you about manifestation. Every single technique you've ever learned, vision boards, scripting, the 369 method, pillow technique, all of them can work. But they all have one fatal flaw. They keep you focused on getting what you don't have, which means every time you do them, you're unconsciously reinforcing lack. Think about it. Why would you need to visualize money if you already had it? Why would you script about abundance if you were already abundant? The techniques themselves become proof that you're operating from, I don't have this yet. This is why people can spend years doing daily manifestation routines and see 0 results. They're working incredibly hard at staying poor. And before you think, but I've heard this before, no, you haven't. Because what I'm about to show you isn't about doing less manifestation work. It's about speaking once from a completely different state of consciousness and then never thinking about it again. The sentence you're about to learn came directly from Neville Goddard's teachings. Not the watered-down versions you see on Instagram. Not the motivational speaker interpretations. The actual principle he used himself to go from a poor immigrant to living in wealth and ease. And in a moment, I'll tell you exactly what happened when I tested this myself. How money showed up in 3 different ways within 48 hours. But more importantly, I'll show you why it worked. Because if you don't understand the mechanism, you'll just turn this into another failed technique. Here's what we're going to do. First, you'll learn the sentence. Then, you'll understand the psychology behind why these 4 words rewire your subconscious faster than any other method. And finally, this is the part most manifestation videos never cover. I'll show you exactly what to do when doubt creeps in. Because doubt will come. And how you handle it determines whether this works or becomes another disappointment. Let me ask you something. Right now, today, how do you feel about money? Not what you tell yourself. Not what you post on social media. How do you actually feel in your body when you think about your finances? For most people, there's tension, anxiety, a tightness in the chest, a worry in the background that never quite goes away. And that feeling, that state, is your reality, not your affirmations, not your vision board, your state. Neville called this the state you're occupying. And here's the brutal truth. You can't manifest from a state of lack. You can say, I am wealthy 1,000,000 times, but if your body is tense with financial fear, your state is screaming, I don't have enough. And reality always reflects your state, not your words. This is why the sentence you're about to learn is different. It doesn't try to convince you of anything. It doesn't require you to believe. It simply shifts your state in one moment. And once your state shifts, everything else follows automatically. So what is this sentence? I'll tell you in exactly 60 seconds. But first, you need to understand something that will determine whether this works for you or not. The sentence has no power on its own. None. You could repeat it backwards, forwards, in your sleep. And if you're speaking it from the wrong state, nothing happens. But when you speak it from the end, from the state of already having wealth, it becomes unstoppable. Think of it like a key. A key only works if you're standing at the right door. The sentence is the key. The state is the door. And right now, I'm going to walk you to that door, unlock it, and show you what's been waiting on the other side this entire time. But here's what's interesting. The moment I reveal the sentence, part of your mind will say, "That's it? That's too simple." And that reaction is exactly why most people stay poor. They're looking for complexity, for elaborate rituals, for something that feels like work. Because if it doesn't feel hard, it doesn't feel real. Wealth isn't hard. Poverty is hard. Struggling is hard. Worrying is hard. Wealth is natural. It's easy. It's as simple as breathing, once you're in the right state. The sentence is, "I have it now." 4 words. That's it. Not "I will have it." Not "it's coming." Not "I'm attracting it." But "I have it now." And immediately, I know what just happened in your mind. Doubt showed up. But I don't have it. My bank account says otherwise. This feels like lying to myself. Good. That resistance is important. Because it's showing you exactly where you're stuck. You're still looking at current circumstances as proof of what's possible. But Neville taught the opposite. Circumstances are not the cause, they're the effect. Your state is the cause. When you say, "I have it now," with feeling, not as an affirmation, but as a fact, you're not describing your bank account. You're describing your consciousness. And consciousness always comes first. Always. The physical world is just the mirror catching up. And before we go deeper into why this works, if you're someone who's serious about actually manifesting wealth, not just consuming content about it, hit subscribe right now. Because here's the thing, this channel isn't about motivation, it's about transformation. Every video I release is designed to shift your consciousness, not entertain you. So if you want to keep walking this path, subscribe now, so you don't miss what's coming next. Because in 2 days, I'm dropping a video about the one thing Neville said you must never do after speaking your desire, and 90% of people do it without realizing they're blocking everything. Don't be one of them. Subscribe now. So let's address what just happened in your mind when you heard "I have it now." Your logical brain immediately checked your bank account. It looked at your bills. It calculated your debt. And it said, "This is a lie." But here's what Neville understood that most people miss. You're not lying to your current circumstances. You're telling the truth to your imagination. And imagination is the only creative force in the universe. Think about every single thing humans have ever created. The phone in your hand, the building you're in, the car outside. Every single one started as imagination. Someone saw it in their mind before it existed in the world. They didn't wait for proof. They didn't need permission from reality. They imagined it, felt it as real, and reality caught up. Money works exactly the same way. When you say, "I have it now," you're not talking to your bank. You're talking to the creative power within you. And that power doesn't argue. It doesn't judge. It simply says, "Yes, if that's what you're claiming in consciousness, I'll make it so." But here's where it gets interesting. Most people speak this sentence once, check their account, 5 minutes later, see nothing changed, and quit. They treat it like ordering food. I said the words, "Where's my money?" That's not how this works. When you say, "I have it now," with feeling, you're not placing an order. You're shifting states. And once you shift states, you start making different choices, noticing different opportunities, acting differently. And money flows through those new actions. This is why Neville never promised instant physical manifestation. He promised instant state change. And state change always precedes physical change. Always. So the real question isn't, when will I see money? The real question is, am I maintaining the state of already having it? All right, back to the sentence. I have it now. 4 words. But Neville said something crucial that most people ignore. Feeling is the secret. Not the words themselves, the feeling behind them. You can say, "I have it now," 1,000 times with zero emotion, and nothing happens. Your subconscious doesn't respond to empty syllables. It responds to emotional states. When you say these words, you must feel what it would feel like to actually have the money right now. Not excitement, not relief, not desperation, but calm knowing. The same way you feel about the fact that you have lungs. You don't get excited about your lungs every morning. You don't worry about whether they'll work today. You just know they're there. That's the state. When you say, I have it now, imagine checking your bank account and seeing a large sum there. Don't imagine the process of how it got there. Just see it there and feel what you'd feel. For most people, it's a wave of peace, a release of tension, maybe a subtle smile. That's the feeling you're installing. And here's the secret. Most manifestation teachers won't tell you. You don't need to hold this feeling for hours. You don't need to meditate on it all day. You just need to feel it intensely for 30 seconds to a minute. That's it. Because when you feel something deeply, your subconscious accepts it as fact. Now, Neville gave very specific instructions about when to do this. And most people ignore this part, which is why they fail. He said, do it before sleep, in that drowsy state right before you drift off. Why? Because that's when your conscious mind, the part that argues, doubts, and analyzes, goes offline, and your subconscious, the part that actually creates your reality, is wide open. In that state, imagination and reality blur. What you feel becomes what is. And if you fall asleep feeling wealthy, your subconscious works on that assumption all night long. It doesn't question it. It doesn't doubt it. It simply begins rearranging your reality to match. So tonight, when you're lying in bed, eyes closed, body relaxed, whisper it softly. I have it now. See the money, feel the peace, and drift off in that state. Don't fight sleep trying to hold the feeling. Just let the feeling carry you into sleep. That's the entire technique. One sentence, one feeling, one moment before sleep, and then you forget about it completely. Wait, forget about it? Completely? Yes. And this is the hardest part for most people. Because forgetting means you're not monitoring, you're not checking, you're not obsessing. You're just living your life from the assumption that it's already done. When you wake up tomorrow, you don't do the technique again. You don't check if it worked. You just go about your day. And here's what starts to happen, and I'll explain exactly why in the next section. Opportunities start appearing. Ideas start coming. People start reaching out. Money starts moving towards you through channels you didn't even know existed, but only if you're not strangling it with desperation. Only if you truly let it go after planting the seed. So now you know the sentence, you know the feeling, you know the timing. But there's one more piece that makes this unstoppable, and it's the piece that separates people who manifest once from people who live in perpetual abundance. It's about identity, about who you become when you speak those words. And that's what we're diving into next. Here's something Neville taught that most people completely miss. The sentence, I have it now, isn't about getting money. It's about becoming someone new. Think about it. Poor people say, I need money. Middle-class people say, I want money. But wealthy people, they don't talk about money at all, because they are money. Their identity is abundance, and the external world simply mirrors that internal identity. When you say, I have it now, you're not begging the universe for a favor. You're declaring a new identity. You're saying, I am the wealthy one. And once you claim that identity in consciousness, everything shifts. Your posture changes. You walk differently. You make decisions differently. You stop tolerating things that wealthy people wouldn't tolerate. You stop settling for scraps. You stop living small. Not because you're faking it, but because something fundamental has shifted inside you. And here's what nobody tells you. The money doesn't come to change you. The money comes because you've already changed. Reality is always responding to who you are in consciousness, not who you're trying to become. Let me give you an example. Two people speak the sentence, tonight. Both say, I have it now, with feeling. Both drift off to sleep in the wealthy state. But one person wakes up tomorrow and immediately checks their bank account, sees nothing changed, and thinks, this doesn't work. The other person wakes up, doesn't check anything, and goes about their day as the wealthy version of themselves, makes a coffee, goes for a walk. And at some point during the day, an old client reaches out, or they get an unexpected refund, or someone offers them an opportunity they weren't even looking for. What's the difference? The first person dropped the state the moment they checked for proof. The second person maintained the state regardless of proof. And reality responded accordingly. This is why Neville said, "Do not ask for signs." Because asking for a sign means you don't believe it's already done. And if you don't believe it's already done, you're back in lack. And lack attracts more lack. Now let's talk about what happens when doubt shows up. Because it will. You'll speak the sentence tonight. You'll feel amazing. You'll drift off feeling wealthy. And then tomorrow, maybe the next day, doubt will creep in. You'll think, nothing's happening. I don't see any money. Maybe this doesn't work for me. And this is the moment. This is where most people quit. This is where manifestations die. But here's what you need to understand. Doubt isn't the problem. Reacting to doubt is the problem. When doubt shows up, don't fight it. Don't try to convince yourself. Don't repeat affirmations desperately. Just notice it. Oh, there's doubt. Interesting. And then return to the sentence. Whisper it gently. I have it now. Feel it for 10 seconds. And move on with your day. You're not trying to eliminate doubt. You're just refusing to let doubt become your state. Because states create reality. Thoughts do not. You can have 1,000 doubtful thoughts and still manifest everything you want, as long as you keep returning to the wealthy state. Think of it like training a puppy. The puppy wanders off. You don't yell at it. You just gently guide it back. Your mind will wander into doubt. Don't fight it. Just gently return to, I have it now. Neville called this persisting in the assumption. And this is the real work. Not doing the technique repeatedly, but living from the end. Living from the end means you make decisions as if you already have the money. Not reckless decisions, but confident decisions. You stop operating from fear. You stop clinging to pennies. You start moving through the world differently. When you're at the store and you see something you want, you don't immediately think, I can't afford that. You think, do I want that? That's a completely different energy. One is lack, the other is choice. When someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, you don't say yes out of financial fear. You say no because wealthy people protect their time and energy. These small shifts compound. And before you know it, you're not the same person you were a week ago. You're walking differently, talking differently, choosing differently. And opportunities that were always there but invisible to the poor you suddenly become obvious. And here's something wild that Neville proved over and over. Sometimes the money shows up in ways you never expected. You don't get a raise. You don't win the lottery. Instead, someone offers you a deal, or a debt you forgot about gets forgiven, or an opportunity drops into your lap that multiplies your income. Why? Because when you change your state, you change your reality at the root level, and reality rearranges itself in whatever way is most natural. Your job isn't to figure out the how. Your job is to maintain the state of already having it. But, and this is crucial, there's one mistake that kills more manifestations than anything else. And I guarantee you've done it before without realizing. I'll explain exactly what it is and how to avoid it in just a moment. But first, you need to understand something about time. When you say, I have it now, you're not asking for money in the future. You're claiming it exists right now in consciousness. And consciousness is where everything begins. The physical world is slow. It's dense. It takes time for things to materialize. But consciousness is instant. The moment you assume wealth, you are wealthy in consciousness. And the physical is just the shadow catching up to the light. This is why Neville said, live in the end. Don't live in the journey. Don't live in the hoping and waiting. Live in the already done. Because the end is now. It's always now. When you truly grasp this, you stop asking, when will it come? You stop tracking time. You stop checking calendars. You just know it's done. And you go about your life peacefully, confidently, abundantly. And then one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, you look around and realize the physical world has caught up. The money is there. The opportunity is there. The abundance is there. And you're not even surprised because you've been living in it all along. So here's where we are. You know the sentence. You know how to feel it. You know how to handle doubt. You know how to persist in the state. But there's one final piece. The piece that makes this permanent. The piece that turns a one-time manifestation into a lifetime of abundance. And that's what we're covering in the final section. Because you didn't come here just to attract money once. You came here to become the kind of person who always has money. And that transformation is next. So let's talk about the difference between someone who manifests $5,000 once and someone who always has money flowing in. What's the difference? It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's state permanence. Most people touch the wealthy state for a moment. They feel it. They experience it. Money shows up. And then they drop right back into their old identity. Oh my God, I got money. Now I better hold on to it. I better not spend it. What if it never comes again? And that fear, that contraction, immediately pulls them back into poverty consciousness. They attracted money from abundance, but they're trying to keep it from lack. And you can't maintain wealth from a state of lack. It's impossible. Neville taught something radical. He said wealth isn't about having money. It's about being the kind of consciousness that money flows through, like a river. The river doesn't hold water. It lets it flow. And because it lets it flow, more water always comes. When you become that kind of consciousness, open, abundant, trusting, money doesn't just come once, it comes continuously. Because you're not gripping it with fear. You're allowing it to flow. And this brings me to the one mistake that kills more manifestations than anything else. Are you ready? Here it is. Checking for results. The moment you check your bank account to see if it worked, you've broken the state. Because checking means you don't actually believe you have it. You're testing. You're monitoring. You're operating from, let me see if this is real. And the universe doesn't respond to tests. It responds to assumptions. When you truly have something, you don't check if it's there. You just know. You don't wake up every morning and check if you still have lungs. You assume they're there and you move on with your life. This is what Neville meant by living in the end. The end is where it's already done, already finished, already yours. And people who live in the end don't monitor, don't track, don't obsess. They just live. So after you speak the sentence tonight before sleep, after you feel it and drift off in that wealthy state, forget about it completely. Don't check your account tomorrow. Don't look for signs. Don't tell people, I'm trying this manifestation thing. Let's see if it works. Just go about your life as the wealthy version of yourself and let reality catch up quietly, naturally, inevitably. Now, here's how you make this permanent. It's not about repeating the sentence every night. In fact, you only need to do it once if you truly shift states. But what you do need to practice is this: living as the wealthy one daily. What does that mean practically? It means when you make coffee tomorrow morning, you make it the way a wealthy person would. Not rushed, not stressed, present, enjoying it. It means when you walk down the street, you walk with the posture of someone who has money, not arrogant, just calm, confident, secure. It means when you make decisions, you ask, what would I choose if I had unlimited money? And then you choose that, within reason, obviously. You're not going into debt, but you're also not living from poverty consciousness. Maybe that means you buy the organic groceries instead of the cheapest option. Maybe it means you take the taxi instead of the bus one time. Small choices that signal to your subconscious, we are wealthy now. And as you practice this, something incredible happens. The wealthy identity stops being something you're trying on. It becomes who you are. And when it becomes who you are, money has no choice but to flow. Because reality always mirrors identity. So, here we are. You came here looking for a sentence, and you got one. I have it now. 4 simple words that carry the weight of Neville's entire teaching, but you got something more valuable than a technique. You got an understanding. You now know that wealth isn't out there. It's not in your bank account. It's not in your job. It's not in the economy. Wealth is a state of consciousness. And the moment you occupy that state, the physical world rearranges itself to match. Tonight, before you sleep, you're going to speak these words with feeling. You're going to see the money as already yours. You're going to feel the peace, the security, the abundance. And you're going to drift off in that state. And when you wake up tomorrow, you're not going to check if it worked. You're just going to live as the wealthy one. Make decisions as the wealthy one. Walk as the wealthy one. Be the wealthy one. And somewhere between tonight and the days that follow, money will appear. Not because you begged for it, not because you worked harder, but because you became the kind of consciousness that money seeks. Remember, words without feeling are dead, but words spoken from the state of the wish, fulfilled, become living seeds. And the seed you plant tonight will grow into abundance beyond what you can currently imagine. So speak it tonight, feel it deeply, and then forget about it completely. Because the wealthy one doesn't obsess about money. The wealthy one simply lives, and life responds accordingly. I have it now. Go make it yours. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.